Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 45 of the Tait Talks Podcast. Today I'm speaking to Luke Joseph. Ryan, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Tate.
No, thank you for having me in your house.
Oh, yeah, it's not bad, eh?
It took me a while to actually find out where you lived.
Yeah.
I was in the car park searching, but we found each other, and now we're on.
Fuck yeah.
You, sir, are a professional comic and ex-TV host. Is that what we'll call it?
Yeah, I'm not doing any at the moment, so it's in my past, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Could be in the future again, but I don't know.
Okay, we'll get into that actually because it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with what shows were you doing?
So firstly, I did. I'll get over this, by the way, but it's so odd holding a microphone sitting on my own couch. I'll get over it. Don't worry. I did. The first things I hosted were Nickelodeon, so I was in a duo for a long time, a music comedy duo, and then we moved into kids TV hosting. So we hosted a pilot for them, and then that became a show. So that was like a 8-episode sketch show, kids sketch show, and from that they had us on as like we became like the face of the channel or whatever for like 6 years.
Oh, really?
So we did. The flagship show was a show called Camp Orange, and then we did. We hosted like Slime Fest was a big event they had. We did a bunch of stuff for the Kids' Choice Awards, a lot of different content for them for about 6 years, and then we stopped doing that. And then I didn't really hustle anything or chase any TV hosting. And in 2018, I had a good year. I did 2 seasons of an esports show on Channel 10, like a national esports league called the Gfinity Elite Series.
Esports is in games?
Yeah, as in the 3 games we did were Street Fighter, Rocket League, and CSGO. And
you just like commentary?
No, I was the host, so there was there was the casters or the commentators, and then like special commentary, people who knew, and then the players, and I was the host guy with a woman, and then I also did a documentary for National Geographic. So that's my full resume.
Wow.
Yeah.
I literally thought it was just the one show sort of on Nickelodeon, but you've done a lot more than that. How long were you on TV spanning? So it's 6 plus the 2 seasons and National Geographic.
Yeah. So I guess if you count, there's probably a year from 2018 to 2019 that I was doing TV stuff again. So probably, 7 years in general. And I used to do radio as well. We were in the duo. We did some stuff on Nova. We were on Nova for a year or 2.
Which state?
We did national for a bit. We were doing a night show, but we were coming out of Victoria at the time. So, yeah.
Really?
So, I've done some shit, bro.
Yeah, that's literally why you're on the podcast.
Yes.
So, okay, how do you jump from everyday person to hosting a duo or putting a pilot out for a kids show? Like, I've seen your stand-up. It's not for kids.
No.
Well, what I've seen anyway. I don't know if you do clean shows, but
no. Well, interestingly, when we got the gig, the kids TV gig, we were also doing stand-up essentially that wasn't for kids. We were a music comedy duo, primarily live performing. So we started here in Perth, and then we moved east, and we were based in Melbourne, and we literally got the gig by. At the time, and I don't know if it works this way anymore, but at the time, Nickelodeon was looking for duos for this pilot, and they found this video of us, and I think we were performing at the old Festival Club at Hi-Fi Bar in like 2007 or something like that, 2008. And so, it was just a video of us performing songs and it was smutty content. But from that, they got us to send a self-tape in, where we just recorded ourselves doing more of our adult bits, songs.
Like, we hate kids, and they're like,
pedo stuff, all that kind of stuff. But it's adult stuff that we'd run in clubs for years, essentially. So
you pro comics?
Sorry,
pro comics?
Yeah, we were very good. Yeah. we were a solid act, and
like that was your job, comic, like comedians.
Well, we can't. That's how it became our job, because we were essentially on the hustle when we moved east. That was the goal. We had day jobs.
Like Hamish and Andy, sort of.
Yeah, we once had TV Week once referred to us as the next Hamish and Andy.
Really?
Yeah, there was an article. So there you go. But Yeah, so then we went to Kids TV. So they found this this clip of us, and then we sent a self tape in, and then they gave us the gig. And there was the first show we did. There was another. There were two Dash and Will were their names, two chicks, and they had a pop duo, and they were also hosting this TV sketch show with us.
Yeah,
but they didn't keep going on to work with them. They were lovely. I reckon they'd be lovely now. They were a little bit turdy, actually, at the time.
Here we go.
The gossip.
Yeah. So how old were you then, when 2007-ish?
20... What am I now? 37. Maybe I was 24, 25.
So how did they get in contact with you? Did you
Yeah, so interesting, hey? All the little details of that stuff. I don't know.
Did you have a manager?
No, at that point we didn't. I think
That's so strange.
Yeah,
I would not even believe that.
Yeah, I think it must have been through. You know what? Maybe they contacted the comedy festival and then they got it,
yeah.
or it was through a Facebook page, or it's something. Or we probably had a website. We were pretty organised.
Yeah.
We were pretty. Yeah. So I think it was probably through that. Yeah.
And then you went from you did the pilot.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I say pilot. I think it was,
or whatever you call it.
I think it was. Yeah, it was. It was definitely like we made like 6 eps of it. So I mean, it was the show. It was
what are you actually doing?
Sorry,
what's the show like? What are you doing on the show?
So that show was called. What the fuck was that show called? The Go Show. That show was called The Go Show, and that was a sketch show.
And
so
you guys made it. Like you are the masterminds.
That one we just acted in it, or performed it. We someone else wrote all the sketches. There was sort of studio bits where we came up with a lot of that stuff. So we would throw to a sketch.
Yeah,
we would be in the studio. We wrote a lot of our bits, which I think is what solidified us as being ongoing presenters for them, because we brought a lot of, it's so different. I think that was the difference between us and this Dash and Will, this pop duo who got the gig. We had kind of wanted something like that for so long that when we got it, we went so hard at it. Whereas they...
Kid related? Or you just wanted to be in the limelight or doing a show?
Just wanted to be on TV. Just wanted to make it. We were incredibly ambitious. So I think that... And we had also worked both in... so we both studied... We trained as actors and theatre performers and creatives, and then we had both worked in children's theatre, and then also at Starlight Children's Foundation. And so we'd worked with kids and kids content as for a long time.
See, that makes sense. I thought it was smutty comedy to Nickelodeon, but like, we're going to give these guys a chance, and you guys are like, fucking Andrew Dice Clay.
They didn't know that when they hired us. But our whole style was definitely, I think they saw something that was correct, is that we were kind of the content was dark, but we were light. There was a levity to our performance
on stage. Your comedy,
and a cheekiness and a lightness in the banter,
which is I would say your style now.
Which is my style, yeah. So there was they saw that levity, and they were right in seeing that would translate. There was an energy there that they thought would translate, and
clearly did.
It did, yeah.
So all right, so you had 2 young bucks.
Yeah.
Assume you're good buddies.
Well, yes and no, man. Yes. You know what? Now we really are. I mean, we were.
But you moved over east together?
Sorry?
You moved over east together?
We moved over east together. You know what's so funny, the timing of you asked now, is I just watched Get Back, the Beatles doco.
Okay.
And it just was so interesting because my fiance, who's also done collaborative theatre and all that kind of stuff, we were talking about how much it makes you think about your own time working in collaborative relationships, and I know it's funny to even be like, oh look, the Beatles, just like me. But anyway. But so we were really good mates.
Yep.
But we pretty much
Andy.
But we pretty much started creating from the minute we were friends. So the whole friendship was based on working together. There was no hang time really before we started making stuff up together.
And you met each other at, I assume, Whopper?
He was in the year above me, Yep.
Okay, so you start doing those shows, you get signed, I assume?
You
sell the show
so what happened was we live gigged for years, like in Perth back in the day, man, like I'm talking like 2003, 2004.
Oh.
So we hustled all around here, and then before we moved east. So we were a really solid live
You're
act.
established.
Yeah,
Yep.
we were a very bookable solid live act for Cars for a few years. And we got management once we got Nickelodeon, then we got, we were actually doing a run at the store. And then we got management from that. Token or creative rep then booked us from that. And then we got radio and da-da-da-da. Then it all sort of happened.
So when you got, I suppose, the show with Nickelodeon, do they say, like, this is what we're going to pay you to? And you guys are like, yes.
So,
or you guys are like, hang on, let our lawyers look at it, and
that's why management is sick. And I've never been good since I'm doing my own thing at that. Like, they just know that you can always ask for more, and people will just say no. And the difference is that you have someone going into bat for you.
Yes.
You don't have to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
So, like, they offered us. Oh, we have a rabbit, by the way.
I was wondering. I'm like, what was that?
Yeah.
Will it come out? There it is.
I doubt our landlord listens to this podcast. I'm kidding about the rabbit. If they do, we don't have a rabbit. That's a funny joke, but we do have a rabbit. We're not meant to have a pet. But yeah, that's the rabbit.
Next door neighbour has a giant dog. You have a rabbit.
Keep them away from each other.
I hope so.
So management's great because they offered us like I think a reasonable day amount was a day rate.
Okay,
basically. They engaged us as freelance creatives, and then our management was like, "Nah, you need to pay way more than that." And they were like, "We can't fucking pay that." And then our management was like, "You're gonna pay this," and they got us like what? They doubled our fee. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, our daily fee, and then that was our set daily fee with them for years.
Okay, so you were happy with the fee then?
Our daily fee was stupid. Like, I mean, it was stupid. Like, it's interesting, we only ever really earned for any kind of other work. You would compare it and you'd be like, that's a fucking sick day rate. For TV money, it was very low.
Yeah, okay.
Because it was kids' TV and it was on a Foxtel.
And so niche market.
Yeah, so it was the lowest, really.
And did you work full days? Like, how much of the year would you work on a TV show?
So for 4 of the years, I think for about 4 of the years we worked for them, it was all engaged project to project, with just a sort of unwritten agreement that they were going to keep using us. And then for the last 2 years, we're on contract. They put us on we moved to Sydney. That's why we moved to Sydney. And they put us on, just like a salary.
Yep.
Salary, yeah. And so it was sporadic, but the days we worked very full days for them. Like they would pack them full because we were based in Melbourne at that point, so they would fly us up.
Okay.
And we would stay overnight, obviously, or just sometimes go up and back in the day. And
so you'd bash out an episode in a day?
Yeah, the shows they did, the money, they didn't have big budgets, I think, again, for television. So like for instance, Camp Orange, which was I think 6 eps, we'd do it in 6 days. So we would do.
Oh, really?
And that's insane because that had 4 teams of 2 kids in each team doing these challenges against each other. And so they were fucking full days. They were like start at 5 or 6 and then wrap in the dark.
Really?
Yeah.
With children?
They were pushing.
How old were they?
Good question.
Ish.
11, 12 maybe. They would definitely and they always fell on the right side, but they were definitely pushing the boundaries, I think, of what is legal in terms of the amount of hours you can,
Yes, Nickelodeon, we're taking you down. The dark secrets of Nickelodeon.
They were on the right side of it. I always, whatever, fuck them. Who cares, man? They're not employing me anymore. I don't give a shit.
Just get an email tomorrow. We want you back. You're like, take it down.
Yeah, maybe I'm negging them. That'll be crazy.
Fuck
you, Nickelodeon.
Yeah. That must have been a crazy world from like you do it. Are you still doing stand-up while you're doing these shows?
So we gigged hard for a few years while we were doing that, but it got to the point where we actually stopped live gigging because it was too much really on the relationship with, we were doing radio, we were doing, we were doing, the radio was there was a once a week show, and then when there were survey breaks, we'd be the fill-in show.
Yep.
And do a lot more shows. And then we were also doing, shows for Nickelodeon, as well as trying to come up with that fucking dog. I knew he'd arc up.
Odin.
Odin.
Yeah.
We'd also try and, we were also trying to come up with our own pictures and stuff and hustle other stuff, well as writing stand-up.
Is it always you two?
Yeah, it was us. It was a full-on thing, man. Like, we worked together for 10 years, and we were working together almost every day, full days.
It's gross.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to go back and touch on something. So you Camp Orange, the kids are doing all these little tasks and shit. It's like Kid Fear Factor, I assume.
Yes.
Fucking testicles and whatnot.
Yeah, lots of kids eating testicles,
yeah,
sure.
Just to get on the show. But, like, are the kids ever... Are they very screened to be like, these kids will not give you any issues? They are, or sometimes they're just fucking wacky and shit, and you're like...
It was more the situation, I feel like, and I don't know if this is still the case, but what I found was it was like more that some of the kids who do that have show parents, I would say. The hardest thing is to find talent that is actually like kids who are just genuinely fascinating, them, completely themselves, down-to-earth kids. And the producers tried very hard to find that, but you would still get these show kids, and who, their parents would take them around to all these shows to get onto them, and so they would essentially learn how to act like they were normal.
Not real people.
Yeah, they were fucked, man. They were the worst ones. But so that was probably the main problem. Otherwise, the kids were great. It was more the insane schedule that made it, because they were shooting, trying to save money, that you would just do these ridiculous days.
Do the kids get paid?
I don't think so. So that's it. It was, like most reality TV, it's a huge... I don't know actually how it works now, but I think with a lot of it, they definitely sell people on the whole concept of... Like for Nickelodeon, it was definitely like, we're going to fly you to the Gold Coast and you're going to be at SeaWorld for 6 days, just going on rides. Whoa! Yeah. And then, so like the whole thing was... Every time you're around the kids, it's got to be so much fun. Oh, isn't this fun? It was for the most part. The kids definitely... It's a little bit of gaslighting, I'd say. When it's like 9 hours in and they're waiting on dinner and they're sunburnt and tired, and you're like, are we having the best time? It's a little bit like, I don't know.
Shut up, Luke, you prick.
So I don't know, like... But it was definitely... that's a very cynical version of it. It was still, I think, again, me and Y were very good at creating a vibe. We were very good at bringing a lot of fun to it. And the producers were very good at it too, And
your MC style is very good at that too.
Thanks, man.
You're very, very good at bringing the energy.
Yeah.
So it must just be... Well, do you think that would have... would have helped you? I know we're fast forwarding a lot here, but do you reckon doing that sort of hosting type thing, even though it was kids, has given you attributes for stand-up or emceeing or hosting?
Yeah, I think it did. Well, look, I already kind of had it from doing stand-up the first time in the duo, so I think it helped. But what really helped to where my act is live now is I did a lot of TV warm-up for... that was my bread and butter in Sydney, outside of doing on-screen stuff.
Yeah.
So I was the warm-up act for a bunch of shows. I was sort of the backup warm-up act to the main warm-up guys in Sydney, and then just before we left, I got in on a show, and then we fucking moved. But
so you guys were the fluffers to...
Yeah, well, I was specifically. So me and Wyatt did it once or twice on X Factor. And then I just kept doing it because I was doing so much stand-up.
So you're just doing stand-up to... Like, X Factor is singing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but you're doing stand-up.
Well, see, that's what, again, makes you better as a live act, because there are some warm-ups who just do stand-up, but it's pretty hard to just do that. You need to be really good at doing a multitude of other things because you have to cover for so long.
Yeah.
You have to cover for so long in the worst environment, so you just have to do anything to keep them happy and laughing in the worst circumstances. So I think that definitely made me way better. That hosting stuff to a certain extent, but TV, I don't know, necessarily trains you for live.
Yeah.
I think that TV has a lot of people telling you you're good at what you're doing because they have to keep their jobs.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not, which is kind of what drew me back to live as obsessively as I went back to it, because I felt like I wasn't actually funny anymore. And I had just had people telling me that because they were getting paid to.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I got to get funny.
And here we are. So when you were like on the TV shows and stuff, how, I know it's all changed in the matter of what when you started to now.
Yeah.
See, probably the things that you do now may not even be around as much type thing. So how big were ratings? Like, do they tell you like, hey, we're slipping, we got to do this?
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, ratings were pretty big. I think they were definitely big because Nickelodeon had sponsors.
Yeah.
So they were, man, it was so funny. Some of the way the sponsors, it was just not. There was like I remember we like Razor e-Spark scooters.
Oh yeah, I had one of those.
It's just so funny. Like it would always be like in the middle of an episode, and then someone would just rock up on one, and they'd be like, "Wow, it's great to be here on my Razor e-Spark scooter." Like it was not subtly done at all.
They are kids though.
Yeah,
you have to spell it out to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Buy this. Yeah. So I mean, it was pretty important. I think Camp Orange rated very, very highly.
How do you know? Like, I don't need. Do you know how ratings work? Because I've never fucking.
I
worked
don't
it out.
actually. This is really testing my memory now.
You're welcome.
But there's a few things. There was, I think, with Foxtel there was set-top boxes, so you could literally tell what people were watching through the thing.
Yep.
I don't know. I know that with radio, it was wildly out of. Like it used to literally run off. People would write in a little, like they would send like a book around to a certain amount of addresses. They would post them, and you were supposed to, for a period of time, write down what you listened to. And this was used up till very recently, till like 10 years ago. And so that's why those ratings were always kind of skewed, because what would happen is people would forget to do it, and then they'd do a week at a time, and they'd be like, oh, Hamish and Andy, I remember them.
Yeah.
So whereas, if you think about it, at the time, back in the day, every taxi you got into or whatever would be playing Smooth FM, you know what I mean? Like, so that was how radio ratings used to work. I don't know about TV ones, how they worked, but there was definitely a kind of accountability that we were trying to engage the most kids we could.
Yeah. Was there a formula that you guys figured out, or is it more how much are you saying in the show, or is there writers and they're like, here you go, B1, B2, do this?
It was the beauty of, we were really very lucky. Nickelodeon trusted us and our tone inherently, and they rarely reined us in. And so what would often happen, there was some shows we wrote from scratch, but what would often happen is they would give us a skeleton of a script, or, essentially B1 says this, wow, I can't wait for today's show. There's so much great stuff coming up, isn't there, Wyatt? Sure is, Luke, all the things coming up.
Yeah.
Or there'd be like a sort of a central gag they had an idea for that maybe it was Wyatt's birthday and Luke forgot, or vice versa, and they would have an idea of it, and then we would generally punch it up, is what would happen. Is they would sort of write a fine idea, but we would make it funnier, and then we would just try and loosen it up as well. And so they gave us a lot of creative input, which I think is why what we did was so successful, because it was surprising and unusual.
Yeah.
And then as the years went on, they kind of learnt how to write. For the people they got to work for us, we learnt how to work more cohesively. And it was a really cool working relationship.
That's good. What would, is there many, I'm trying to think of you, so you're working for children, as you said, it's a niche thing. So, when you're if you're an everyday person on a TV show that's for adults, you could see the perks as being like, hey, I'm from this show that you've probably seen, whereas you appeal to younger children.
Yes.
So what are the perks of that?
We did a live kids show one year at Comedy Festival. We tried to, and it sold well, but we never kind of worked out how to harness it, at that kind of level. We definitely had a big, we didn't have, I reckon there wasn't a huge amount of fans, but the ones that there were was super intense.
Yeah.
They were because they were a small group. Yeah, I mean, the main perk for me at the time was, and I never realised this until it stopped, was I didn't realise how rare it was to have a consistent gig. I had no idea how... are you looking at a rabbit?
No.
She's cute, hey?
Yeah. Sorry.
Her name, dude, it's fine. Her name's Yoko. She's adorable, isn't she? Fran is more of... she's her mum. I just live in the same house.
Yeah.
She barely pays me any attention.
Sorry. So you're saying I just saw it moving. And I'm like, the fuck. But there is no rabbit in this house if the landlord is listening.
Oh yeah. We don't have a rabbit.
Consistent gig.
Yeah, it was more. The biggest perk was definitely just. Yeah, I didn't realize how lucky I was to be, and it was sick fun. Like it was actually. It's funny to not tell someone you have a rabbit, isn't it? It's quite a cool trick.
You shouldn't have told me and let it wander out. I'd be like. And then when I talked about it, you should have been like, what the fuck are you on about?
Yeah.
I don't have a rabbit.
Or when I'd seen it, just freaked out and like got the pest spray or whatever. I'm like, get this fucking rabbit out of here. Yeah. What the fuck is this doing? Yeah. Yeah, it was just having work. We for the most part, I mean, there was stressful parts of it, but we really loved it, like it was a real buzz. So I think that was the biggest perk, man, was like doing a cool thing and getting paid for it.
Yeah.
It was a real sick gig. Yeah.
And downsides?
The downside was probably, look, it was really hard, man. Like any creative collaboration, the minute it becomes your earner and becomes your gig, it changes the fun of it. And it was hard. It was hard on that, definitely. I think that all our aspirations, all our everything was tied up in this thing, and we had a couple of things, really big things, almost happen and didn't happen for us internationally. And I think that was really hard for both of us because we worked so hard for so long, and then we had a show in the UK that almost happened, a sketch show for Nickelodeon over there, and then we had like a sitcom essentially, like with this she used to be on iCarly. Her name's Jeanette McCurdy. She hosted a season of Camp Orange with us. We had like essentially a sitcom with her for like Fox, almost happened. And then that didn't happen. And when you get so close and you push so far, and a couple of times, that it's hard, man. So I think, as well as, look, to be honest as well, like the working relationship was pretty strained in the last few years. And of all things kids TV, you kind of have to be pretty bright and chirpy.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't having a great time.
With Wyatt? Is that the
with
name?
Wyatt, yeah. Who lives literally 200 metres down the road now. And we are like super good mates. She is not meant to chew that. Get away, you little turd. Oh, you've already made a little dent. Fuck, she's fast, man. That's your cord.
Well, it will make for intro... Hopefully it just doesn't go kaboom and we are getting rid of the accidentally took the rabbit. I'm sure it's not going to... It can eat that one, but just not my computer cable.
Yeah, I've just moved this out of the way. So Wai lives down the road now, and this is not working at all. And we're mates. We're good friends these days. But yeah, at the time...
So you had a big layoff, did you?
Yeah, well, when we finished... When we finished working with Nick, how do I fucking do this? I don't want the rabbit to chew your cord. I guess
I don't think it.
Keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
When we finished with Nick, we were like 2 games ago now. We're talking about my career and watching a rabbit.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're going to eat the fucking cord.
Maybe it's like interlinked,
Yeah.
This is my life now. A rabbit eating a fucking cord. Oh, Jesus. That's running.
Yeah, I think that's when she's happy.
I do that too. That's why I'm so fat. I'm depressed.
So when we left Nickelodeon, we didn't even really have... It just kind of stopped. We just kind of stopped working together. Like,
was it a break for like... We don't need to be with each other all the time. We had fantastic time together, but let's have
We never really had that. It was really odd, man. It just kind of stopped. We never sat down and went, hey, this is it. We just kind of were like, I Yeah, I think I probably was just like, I was probably the one who was a little bit more the John Lennon to his Paul McCartney. I was a little bit more, I'm busy, I'm not sure. And then, we just went on and did other things. For a while, for like 5 years. And now we're just hanging out again as mates. And it's really good.
Does he have a rabbit?
He's got no rabbits. They've got a cat.
Oh, they are not friendly usually.
No, it's not
in my experience.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, that's sorry, this rabbit's really
rabbit's
bad
fucking
business.
distracting, isn't it? Yeah.
You should have just brought a rabbit on the fucking show. Oh, there it goes. So you finish up doing Nickelodeon stuff. All right, but then you jump into doing the what was the other two shows? You did 2 seasons.
So there's about 3 years before that. So I did because after I think it was 2015 we finished Nickelodeon.
Actually, let's go back to Nickelodeon because I'm curious about a couple of things. What were they like to work with as a company? So they were pretty good, as you were saying.
They were really good. They were
actually, you know how you can see some companies I assume are there to make money.
Yes.
That these guys, do they believe in the product and like we want to spread joy for the children?
Yeah, they really gave a shit about kids, and they had a really It changed as well in the time we were there. They had different CEOs or whatever they're called, different managing directors. Yeah. I think there was a woman there for ages called Christy Phelan who was fucking amazing and really got us, and really she was the creative director for a long time. And then they went through huge upheaval around the time we left or a bit before, and I don't even know what they have running in Australia now, because all these channels have been, weaned down and stuff. And but at the time, they gave us tons of freedom. And they had it really makes a difference as well when I think channels have a couple of really cool shows. Yep. Because like SpongeBob was so cool and always has been. And then I got a little SpongeBob. And even back in the day, the fact that they had like Ren and Stimpy and like
Kenan and Kel?
I don't know.
It was like the two they were kids that worked at oh no, that's Good Burger, but they're the same guys.
But they just had so many cool animations, and it felt like a pretty cool company. They had a pretty subversive
Rocket Power, that was sick.
Yeah, they had a pretty subversive attitude to kids' content. I think. They wanted it to be kind of cheeky and silly and so they were really good to work with. They I think I don't think there was too many, and everything looking back. At the time, I'm sure I had issues with stuff, but looking back, and especially comparing to like the doco I did for Nat Geo, like it's fascinating because they're similarly, I don't know exactly, but they seem like a similarly structured company in that it's, the American office, and then I imagine all the colonies have their own little things. Yeah. So that's what Nickelodeon was. So it was interesting when we would go to the Kids' Choice Awards in America or whatever, they would have Nickelodeon. You went there? In LA.
Really? So you guys went?
Yeah, we went twice. We went over for that. Yeah.
Did you guys win any awards when you were on TV for the show?
Do you know we as presenters beat Rove McManus to win the most outstanding presenters on Foxtel.
Do you see, because Rove's obviously, is he originally from Perth? I know
yes.
Here now.
Yeah.
Do you see him and you're like, suck a dick, mate? Like,
I never bring it up, I never bring it up. I should bring it up.
Yeah, you should be like, here's my award and my pet rabbit. Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you.
But he walks into his mansion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's like, well, I've got a production company and I'm crushing it. Are you renting?
I'm rich as fuck, yeah. Yeah, I'm allowed to have a rabbit in my house because I fucking own it.
Yeah.
Cool.
In one of my houses. Yeah.
Nice name, Rove.
But so we won that award. We did win some awards, but yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
were they big things? Like,
it was at the time. It was a really big deal. Yeah, I mean, it was the Foxtel Awards.
Still, like you fucking. That's the thing. I was chatting to you before that I wanted to chat to you about this, and even though I do find stand up very interesting, but this is the side that I'm like know nothing about.
Yes.
And I feel like 99% of the population don't get to do this, and you've been immersed in it for years.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part? I mean, it must have been weird when you finally stopped, but I'm jumping too far now. But back to the awards.
Yes.
So you shoot to LA. They slime you, I assume.
Yeah. Well,
Do they?
Yeah. Well, the coolest thing was we got slimed a ton of times, but the coolest thing was we used to. So one of the because when the Kids' Choice Awards stopped running in Australia, they started their own event called Slime Fest.
Yeah.
And we hosted that. And the cool thing about that was we got to slime all the kids. So there'd be like 4,000 kids in the like Horden Pavilion or whatever, and they would come up with all these wild contraptions. Like all these cannons and shit to just fire huge amounts. We went for a Guinness like world record one year for like the most slime of all time.
Yeah,
like
catchy.
Yeah. So that was sick. Like doing those kind of events was wild. But
were you heavily involved with them yourself? Like, were you hosting those, or were you just part of them?
So that one we hosted Slime Fest.
Did you meet some? Surely they have some celebrities. Or some
we met quite a few people. Yeah. We met. It's so funny. Like I feel like the ones that I would now. I wish I was more excited, but like, so we met the voice of SpongeBob, Tom Kenny, and I didn't even give a shit. I feel like such an asshole, like, because it just didn't mean anything to me at the time, and now I'm like, fuck, he's amazing, because he does so many. He not only does SpongeBob, he does so many amazing. He's the best voiceover guy.
Really?
But yeah, we met a bunch of them. Yeah, but I mean, there were. Probably some of them would just. You know what's so fascinating is like we met a bunch of times Ariana Grande, but she was at that point she was just
a child.
She was just an actor.
Yeah,
she was on a bunch of Nickelodeon shows, but she wasn't a singer, so she was a famous child actor.
Yeah,
not a world famous pop star or whatever.
That's crazy. So you met her a few times.
Yeah. Well, she did a show with Jeanette McCurdy, who we were sort of mates with, who was from iCarly. They had a spin-off show called Sam and Cat.
Yeah.
And so we were on the set of that one with the guy called Dan Schneider. Did you hear about all that shit that went? He's real fuck, man. Like all this stuff. He was like the $1 million man for Nickelodeon back in the day. So he would just make these huge shows. He did iCarly, Victorious, all these shows. Big Time Rush, all these things. I can't remember what happened, but he had some really fucking weird foot fetish and something. It's something real. He basically got cancelled.
What, for liking feet?
It's more complex than that, and I can't remember it. I don't know how.
I get if it's kids' feet. I mean,
I don't know, and I don't want to, because I don't know. But
allegations. I'm saying. Not saying that's what he did. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Possible. He sounds like he has too much money for me to say anything.
Well, maybe not now. I don't even know what happened to him. Anyway, he was the $1 million man back in the day. But yeah, so we did.
And he allegedly may have liked feet or may have not.
I can't remember what he was doing with feet or not. Anyway, maybe the feet thing I made up. Yeah. I don't know. It really is more important who the feet were attached to.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Big feet or little feet, you know?
Yeah. Sounds like a game show.
Yeah, big feet or little feet. But yeah, so we did a lot of cool stuff like that going to the Kids' Choice Awards was sick, man. Like the orange carpet in LA, like it was so, they did it here for a few years as well when we started at Nick, but it was massive in LA. Like it was such a giant event, you know, like Will Smith, all these fucking.
Yeah. So were they there when you were there?
Yeah.
So did you see any of those guys?
I think, man, it's such a blur. Like I think we
too much slime, eh?
We probably drugs actually. We probably interviewed them at some point. Like we were always on the orange carpet trying to get interviews with people.
Really?
When we were over there, we had access to the Nickelodeon talent, but we didn't have access to fucking bikies, man.
Yeah, you got access to bikies here, right?
Yeah, they always fang it down that road. But we didn't have access to like the big name. You know, like if someone like Will Smith walked down the carpet, you wouldn't.
You're like, yo, Fresh Prince.
Yeah, he wouldn't talk.
Big Willie.
Yeah.
Pat my rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. So you didn't have access to everyone, but they were in the same vicinity.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to be like, yeah, I chatted to Will Smith, and then for me to be like, so you went with SpongeBob fucking first? It makes sense now that he was not there.
No, sorry.
I reckon we'll wrap it up there for this part one.
All right, sick.
We're already 40 minutes in, so tune in for next week, ladies and gentlemen. Blah, 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 blah.